Coastal animals can be a tourist attraction in many regions. A lot of them looks beautiful, or at least interesting looking if I do say so myself. However, some of those interesting looking coastal animals can in fact be harmful for human. Famous example would be the blue ring octopus, lionfish, and stonefish. Well, stonefish might not be that interesting looking for most people, but you get the point. Indo-Pacific coasts are quite famous for hosting several of these interesting looking yet harmful creatures. One of them, which is the topic of this video, is coffin ray, which I just realized is not that well known. So, let me bring up the question. What exactly is coffin ray? Coffin ray is, of course, a ray, not the laser beam kind of ray, the animal kind of ray. Some assign them as superorder Batoidea, while some assign them as division Batomorphi. To be precise, they are classified in the Torpediniformes order, the electric rays. A lot of you might have heard of torpedo before, not the underwater missile of course, the animal torpedo, the original bearer of the name. This order is characterized by a pair of kidney-shaped electric organ. While some other rays or skates have electric organ, their organ is located in their tail, while the electric ray's electric organ is always a pair of kidney-shaped organ on each side of its head. Coffin ray is not classified together with the torpedo though. They are classified in their own family, with only one genus and one species, all bearing its scientific name, hypnos, which basically means sleep. Not because they sleep a lot, but because they put you to sleep. What I mean by that is, they knock you out with their electric shock. Now, Monopterygius means single fin, but they don't actually have one fin. It actually has a relatively complex naming history. When the specimen was first discovered, it was thought to be a monkfish in the Lophius genus. They thought it was a Lophius with only one fin, so they named it Lophius monopterygius. Then, another specimen was discovered years later. It was named Hypnos subnigrum. Subnigrum means blackish, by the way. Then, they realized it's actually the same animal as the Lophius monopterygius specimen. By the rule of zoological nomenclature, the valid scientific name became Hypnos monopterygius because, well, it's definitely not a monkfish, not Lophius. You might have seen some article assigning them the name Hypnars, which was used by some naturalists because Hypna is preoccupied by a butterfly. But it's not a problem, and Hypnos was accepted as a valid name by the International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. So Hypnos monopterygius is indeed the valid name. Oh, by the way, coffin ray is called coffin ray because when they are stranded, they are often bloated and they look like a coffin. They can be found in the coast of Australia, but with a disjunct distribution. Next, let's talk about their morphology. There are several morphological characteristics that they share with others in its order, namely, enlarged roundish pectoral fin and two small and roundish dorsal fins. What's unique for coffin shark is the enlarged roundish pelvic fins. When you look at them from above, it looks like they have another smaller semicircle towards the end of their body. Their tail is also significantly shorter compared to other electric rays. Hence, people usually say coffin ray is shaped like a pear. They don't have dermal denticles. Their dorsal coloration could vary, ranging from dark brownish, reddish brownish, yellowish, or even grayish. Sometimes they have lighter or even darker patches, especially towards the edge of their body. Meanwhile, their ventral side is typically pale or whitish. On the dorsal side of the body, you can see their eyes, which are relatively small and could be inconspicuous unless they extend it. What should be easily noticeable are their spiracles, which are located right behind their eyes basically. On the ventral side, you can see their arcing mouth equipped with rows of small teeth. In front of their mouth are a pair of nostrils. Together with their mouth, these nostrils form a groove. Actually, this might be a good time to show you. Looking at their initial illustration is quite something to say the least. These illustrations look significantly creepier or at least weirder, don't you think? But anyway, behind those, you can see they have 5 pairs of gill slits. Moving on towards the rear end, you can see their cloaca. In males, just like other cartilaginous fishes, they have claspers. Claspers are used to help deliver semen to females during mating. Oh, by the way, adults are typically around 40 centimeters long, but some individuals are noted to reach 70 centimeters. Some articles stated they could reach 90 centimeters long, but that would be an exceptionally big individual, not common at all. Next, let's talk about their lifestyle. But before that, Like I said earlier, coffin ray typically lives along the coastline, but according to the IUCN, some individual can be found at 220 meters depth. They are slow moving and swim by fluttering their fins. In fact, they spend most of their time buried in sediments like what you see in this picture. If you couldn't see anything, then hey, good for them. That means their strategy is working. Being buried like this is their way to avoid predators. Not only that, they can ambush their prey. They typically prey on benthic fishes, but also cephalopods, especially octopi, polychaeta worms, crustaceans, and what's actually quite shocking for me is, apparently, even penguins. Oh, and yes, if you didn't know, Australia do have penguins. So it's definitely not outrageous, just a little bit surprising. Anyway, they are ovoviviparous, meaning they give birth but they don't have placenta. Embryo nourishment comes from the yolk and histotroph, also known as uterine milk, which is not exactly a milk. This fluid contains mucus, fat, and protein. By the way, this is not unique for them. Other life-bearing sharks and rays also secrete histotrophs to feed their embryo. They can give birth to 4 to 8 offsprings, which usually happen in the summer. These offsprings are usually around 8 to 11 centimeters long. They can live for more than 20 years long. Next, let's talk about what they are famous for, their electric shock. Like I said earlier, just like other electric rays in its order, they have a pair of kidney-shaped electric organ. This electric organ is derived from their muscle. It consists of several hexagonal plaques of striated muscle, closely packed and stacked together. It works by pumping ions across these electroplaques. When a signal is transferred by the nerve system, they will pump ion from the bottom electroplaques upwards across the stacks. They can do this both actively and passively, and also both for electrolocation and as a weapon. Electrolocation basically means sensing the environment by generating electric field. You know, like echolocation, but instead of using sound echoes, they use electric field, hence the name. Meanwhile, as a weapon should be obvious. They can use it to incapacitate prey if they need to, or also as a reactionary defense mechanism. That's how most people got shocked by them, literally, not figuratively. They are not aggressive, but sometimes they are just chilling on the bottom, perhaps even buried in the substrate, and then someone accidentally steps on them. Then they release an electric shock and people got shocked. Different species of electric rays produce different voltage of electric shock. In the case of coffin rays, they can release up to 200 volts of electric shock, which might not sound that big of a deal, but it is definitely enough to numb your limbs or even knock you out for a bit. Not lethal though. Well, normally at least. Unless you have a really weak heart or something like that, I guess. Still, if you happen to be strolling around the coast where they live, do be careful. They are not exactly rare. In fact, they are categorized as least concern by the IUCN Red List, and they are quite often seen washed ashore on beaches. But yeah, that is coffin rays. Who knows what we'll learn in the future? But for now, let's just learn what is known. And that's all for now. Oh, by the way, the strongest electric organ of electric rays can produce 220 volts of electric shock. That record is taken by the Atlantic torpedo. So yeah, coffin ray is definitely still up on the podium. Anyway, enjoy your day.